Hi, I'm Vicki Hoth from Handi Quilter, and this is Linda Matteotti from one of our educators, our national educators, and Linda has a really fun technique she's going to teach today. Linda, tell me the name of that.
It's Zentangle.
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 Whoa.
And it's mainly a drawing technique, but I've applied it to quilting, which makes it
what we want.
A lot of fun.
That's right, that's right. So let's get started. Okay, Linda, I saw all of your samples and I went home immediately and pulled my black and white. And I even wore black and white today, and you wore black and white today for this, because this is all in black and white, I think, but I think we could add color. But I pulled all my black and white fabrics.
Good fabrics.
Yes, yes, and I petted them because that's what I like to do, because it's just, you know, I like my fabrics. And I can see that you have all these different fabrics in your collection here that you've been using, but you have applied, because when I saw Zentangle for the first time 3 or 4 years ago, I thought it's artwork. Okay, it's not quilting. Right. And so I kind of walked away from it thinking, nah, I don't know how to apply it to my quilting. But you took it and just embraced it with it and ran with it, and you are now a certified Zentangle, say that twice, Zentangle teacher, and you teach all over the world, or the?
Yes.
You do.
Yes.
So let's get started. Tell me, what does Zentangle mean? What's the official terminology for that, and who started it? And tell us a little bit about it. And I'm going to put my fabrics away for a minute.
Zentangle was started by a couple in Providence, Rhode Island. The woman is a calligrapher, and she discovered that embellishing her calligraphy was relaxing and repetitive, and she just enjoyed doing it.
Okay, stop. So when you started, did you find it was relaxing?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. And everyone does. Quilters, by their nature, are pretty rowdy. But when I teach a Zentangle class, they're so quiet you could hear a
pin drop.
Pin drop.
Oh.
Yes. And it is. The Zen part of the experience really is very, very calming. Let me read just the official description of Zentangle.
And while you read it, we'll see some of the samples that you have actually drawn.
Okay. So the Zentangle method is an easy-to-learn, relaxing, and fun way to create beautiful images by drawing structured patterns. The Zentangle method encourages you not to have preconceived ideas of your final result. Following this somewhat unusual approach, your creation is not restricted by your expectations. So that's part of the freedom of doing Zentangle. You sit down and you start creating repetitive patterns, and you just see what comes.
So what if you are not really creative in coming up with your own patterns to start with? Are there any helps out there? Does she offer anything, or where can I find something to help me get started?
Our dear friend, the internet.
Oh, okay.
There are thousands and thousands and thousands of patterns and pattern combinations that we can copy. And we're not really copying, because even if you set out to do something exactly like what someone else did, yours is going to look different.
Okay.
It's like handwriting.
Okay.
Everyone has a different result.
Well, I noticed one of the fabrics that I brought in today is this fabric right here. And I noticed you were in your hotel room last night drawing, not knowing what fabric I was bringing in today, and she actually drew something very similar to that. Just great minds think alike, right?
Yes.
So it was you just created that artwork yourself, okay? So all of these samples that we have here are your samples.
My samples.
And I notice on this fabric here that this is all where you started on paper. And then you started implementing it into your quilting. And I notice as we look at this, there's some really fun ones that I want to learn how to do. But I notice this is the fabric, and you actually implemented that, drew it here.
One of the things I discovered when I started drawing by the Zentangle method was that those are really just tiny quilting patterns. So not only did it help me with my free motion quilting, but I could apply that to actual fabric with thread.
Okay.
So it was a win-win.
And we will be doing some of that today, but first of all, Linda says I have to draw. I have to get that part. And I have not done any of this, so I may really embarrass myself by the way I draw. But I'm excited to get started, and there's a couple of the designs that I really liked and pointed out to you that that's what I want to learn how to do. And so tell me what supplies I need to start on paper.
Okay, so part of the Zentangle method, or part of the success of it, is that they start out on these 3.5-inch tiles. It's just a little cardboard tile.
Okay.
So there's one for you, Vicki. And I'll take one.
Oh, we're ready to get started?
We're ready to get started.
This is it.
The supplies you need are super simple. You need a micron pen. So this is...
So how fine?
This is a 01.
So very fine.
And they come in lots and lots and lots of sizes. The larger ones, sometimes you like to use to fill, because you notice there's a lot
Okay, so I'm
of
going to move
solid
these
black
so
areas.
we can see the fill in here, and then the little tiny one would be these little tiny dots.
But a micron 01 is really all you need to
And
get
this
started.
is a permanent pen.
Very much so. So you can use it on the cardboard tile, or you can use it on fabric.
And
it
it's
is
washable.
permanent. It's washable to a point, but when you create a Zentangle piece on fabric, you're generally doing an art piece, and you're probably not going to wash it. If you did have to wash it, there may be some graying of the black ink, and then you would just have to go back over it.
Okay. Are there any other pens that if they don't have this?
I do use a fine point Sharpie.
And is that for filling in, or is that for doing the actual
I do not
art?
use this on paper, but I do use it on my fabric.
Does that bleed on the fabric
It
at all?
does not.
Oh, okay.
And what I'm doing with this usually is filling in between stitching. So if there's any bleeding, it bleeds into the black stitches.
Oh,
and
so
doesn't
that's
show.
kind of a good thing.
Great thing, yes.
Does this one bleed?
Nope,
Not at all.
not at all.
Okay, so what if I make a mistake? How do I erase it?
You don't. An eraser is not part of the equipment.
Oh, okay.
Any mistake you make is an opportunity for a new design.
Oh, okay. So
And you create a
I
new
thought I was
design
doing
around-
this, but I'm now going to change, go a
Exactly.
different road. Okay.
Exactly.
All right, I see in here some blending in your quilting right here with those feathers, and also there's, I think, some blending in some of these. So,
It's subtle.
so is that bleeding, or how do you
No,
do that?
it's done on purpose. Let's look
Okay.
at this one again.
Oh, yes.
I made this a little more dramatic so that you could actually see it. So these are the other two pieces of equipment you need. This is called a tortillon.
Tortillon?
Tortillon. It's
Okay.
actually rolled paper, and I call it a smudger.
And you can purchase that at a
Art supply.
art supply store. Okay.
And this is just a little pencil. When you want to do shading, and shading definitely enhances the designs, you do it with the little pencil.
So what lead? Is it a 2 lead, or do you want it to have?
You know,
You don't know that?
I suspect this is a golf pencil.
A golf pencil. Well, I know where to go get those.
I really don't know.
In my car from the last time I golfed.
Any pencil will do. I have used just my mechanical pencil.
Okay.
So really any pencil will do.
Okay.
This one's special because it says Zentangle on it.
All right.
So you simply shade using the pencil on its
On the side.
side,
Okay.
and then smudge it with this so that there are
Shadows
no actual pencil lines showing.
Okay.
And you can see that I could probably use that without a pencil because it has enough
So is this
carbon on it.
continually reusable, or do you sharpen this? Or
It's continually reusable.
so you don't take anything off, it's just,
No, you are wearing it off as
oh,
you
okay.
use it.
Oh, all right.
So you're
All right,
just
those
going
good things
into
to know here.
going into the layers
Okay,
of paper.
so do you, when you draw on here, because I've noticed you quilt,
Mm-hmm.
you've quilted this, do you use these pens to draw your lines?
No.
Okay, maybe
this was-
I'm stepping ahead here. Maybe we should step back and first do the paper.
Well, that's the last piece of equipment that you need is a pencil sharpener.
A pencil sharpener, of course. All right, that's it.
So that's it. If you have your tile and these few things,
Okay,
you're good to
and
go.
where do you get these tile? Do you cut them yourself?
You can cut them yourself. You can get them right from Zentangle. You can get them in art supply stores.
And they're kind of they're a cardstock.
Right.
Okay.
So to get started, you take the pencil and draw a little dot
Okay, so let's move this
in
over
the corner of your tile.
Okay, so I need
And
your
then
pencil.
I will let you have my
Okay.
pencil in just a second. Then you're going to connect the dots, and they are connected sloppily. So if you notice the outside edges of these, there are no two that are square. Actually, one is circular.
fun.
That's just an upside down plastic cup. There you go. So you can go ahead
So I have
and
to have
do
my
this.
4 corners.
And you're going to use a very light hand. So
Yeah, I'm a little heavy there. I noticed that. Okay, very light.
one
just
of the
a dot.
things about drawing by this method is that you want to use a light hand with the pencil, you want to use a light hand with the ink, and you want to enjoy the flow of the ink, and that's where the relaxing part comes in.
Okay. So
Okay.
I need to.
So join your,
Okay, just. Is that light enough? Not too heavy.
and these pencil lines will stay.
Okay.
Remember, there's no eraser in Zentangle.
Okay. I don't know what I'm doing here.
You're
Seriously,
doing-
I don't know what I'm doing.
She has not done this
I
before.
have not done this. Okay. All right.
Okay, then when you've done that, we're going to do something called laying a string. And that's just dividing this so that you have a place to draw. So I'm just going to make a little division there and a little division there. Your turn.
My turn. I like this step-by-step process.
Absolutely.
Okay. Any way I want to. Does that work?
That works.
Okay.
So now we are ready to put the pencil aside and move to the pen.
Okay. I don't usually draw in front of the camera. I can quilt, but this, okay,
If
let's
you can
do it.
quilt, you can draw.
Okay, let's
If you
do
can
it.
draw, you can quilt.
Oh, then we're
Yes.
good. We're good. I'm gonna relax here.
So what I've done is prepared a very simple Zentangle that has just 3 patterns, 3 repetitive patterns.
And that's my favorite.
And that's why I put it on there, because I know you wanted to learn that one.
I do.
Do you recognize this one?
Those are feathers. I can do feathers.
In Zentangle speak, they're called Pais, P-A-I-S,
Kind of like paisley.
kind of like paisley.
Okay.
The Zentangle patterns are always named for something non-representational. So you are not setting out to draw a leaf or a flower or a frog or anything that has a name to it. So you'll notice that the Zentangle patterns have some really funny names.
Okay. So what if I just make up my own? Then I have to name it, right?
That's
Some
right.
funny name.
Absolutely.
Oh, okay. All right.
And you could call it Vixter.
All right.
You know,
Have you got a
something
Linder?
like that.
A Linda Lee or a Linda
No,
Lou?
I can't tell you about the one I have.
Okay.
All right, so we're going to take our micron pen.
Okay. You got one?
Vicki has a micron pen here. And the first design we're going to do is actually doesn't have a name, but it's something that I use a lot because we as quilters like S-curves, correct? So that's this pattern right here.
Okay.
And it's simply S-curves. And if you start, say, in a corner here, and divide this into S-curves, and I will start mine, and you can watch me.
You're very light.
Very light. And when you're sitting at your kitchen table or sitting at your desk, it's just very relaxing.
Just
to
3
make
lines
those
like that?
3 or more or less. There are no should-haves and no
So
should-have.
anywhere I want to start, not
Uh-huh.
necessarily at the point,
Not necessarily at the point.
but
no.
I could.
But you could. hmm
Okay.
My students always say, should it look like this?
I'm wiggly.
And
See?
it's okay if you're a little wiggly, because you'll be consistently wiggly.
We don't want that consistent.
That's good.
I meant to do that.
Now what
Right.
I've done here is simply filled in. Now this is the one place where it differs a little bit from quilting, because we can keep swirling this around.
Oh,
So you want to keep moving it around to where it's reasonable for your hand to work on it.
And that was not reasonable for my hand. I think that's why I was wiggly.
Okay, so because you were a quilter, you put it down and that's where it should stay. Okay, so now what we're going to do is like I did on the sample and just simply fill this with little lines,
Or whatever I wanted
which take a while. And again, you're just going to relax, enjoy the repetition of it, enjoy the ink flowing on the paper, and not worry about the fact that you have to get it done quickly.
So I've got like
Because you
4
don't.
spaces, so I'm going to
Do every other one.
okay, so I can,
Or subdivide this one so that you have 5, because again, as quilters, we know that odd numbers
Oh, I am
usually work better than.
okay, yes.
This relates to quilting in so
Can I
so
start
many ways.
here
Sure.
and work my way?
You can start anywhere you want. You can make those lines curved if you want. Just continually
Does that
curve
work?
them.
Just like
Mhm.
that? Oh, I can see I'm going to need some practice, but I can see where it is just, there's no pressure on this, and it's giving me my lines.
Mhm. So we don't need to have them watch us draw forever. But when I finished this, I thought it looked a little lacking.
Okay.
So I simply added some ovals along
Okay.
the edge just to dress it up a little bit.
I can do that, just along there.
And that, of course, would be pebbles that you could do if you wanted to do it on your machine.
And I see
in quilting.
too that I can clean up things when I make a little goof. There's no goofs, right?
Then a secret to this, again, very much like your quilting, you know how we have our noses on our quilting and it looks a little not quite as good as we expect it, and when we step away, looks nice.
I call that the magic ride home. When you go do something, a project, and you take it home, it looks so much better to your family. They don't see your mistakes.
Right.
They go, oh, you really are
So
good.
the magic ride home for this is to hold it at arm's length as you work, and all of
It
a
does
sudden
look
it
better.
looks so much better.
Okay. All right. All right. So this is really the one I'm interested in
Okay.
to learn today.
So I'll point out the feathers that you liked. What I've done here with the feathers, you can do, of course, on a quilt, but you can't do these dashed lines on a quilt. And you can't do this solid background
Okay.
on a quilt. So my goal with doing Zentangle on fabric is to do everything I can with quilting stitches and then embellish with ink. Do the things I cannot
Okay.
quilt with ink. Okay, Vicki wants to do that very, very badly. So the technique that I'm going to show you requires that you draw a grid of dots. There are lots and lots of patterns in the Zentangle grouping that are based on grids.
Okay. I'm
And-
actually going to turn this around because you've got it on this quilt here as well.
Okay.
So we can put those right there together and see how she did that.
Okay, and the grid can be perfectly square. It can be a curved grid. And what are we talking about now? With our rulers, cross hatching.
That's right.
So we're
so
going
you don't
to,
have a curve. Yours very square.
mine's very square, and this one is also, but look
Okay.
at this grid pattern.
Oh,
That's
got a
definite-
curved
It's got a
crosshatch.
curve.
Okay.
And that one's straight, too.
Straight? All
I
right.
tend to do that one mostly straight, I guess.
Okay.
So what you're going to do is create a grid with dots and make those dots hefty dots.
Would you go to a larger pen or just
Nope.
color it in?
Nope.
Okay.
You can do everything that's possible in Zentangle with this 01 pen.
Okay.
We only like to pick up a larger pen if we're doing a whole lot of black fill. Then it helps, yeah.
Okay.
So you can go ahead and start
Oh.
doing your grid with big black dots.
Oh, and so would you maybe use a stencil to get them even, or it doesn't matter?
Part of the charm is that they're not perfect.
Okay, okay.
So you can make your dots actually a little heftier.
Heftier?
Heftier.
Ooh,
Hefty dots are good.
hides things. It hides things. Okay.
And an alternate to that is using squares instead of dots.
Okay.
Okay, now if you'll watch me for a minute and get the rhythm of what I'm doing, and then you can go to yours. So our goal...
She sounds like a teacher, doesn't she? Teaches a lot.
Our goal here is smooth takeoffs and landings. So we're going to take off above the dot and land under the next dot.
Okay.
And then we're going to take off at the top of the dot and land under the dot.
Well, that's easy.
Take off and land. And where you only have a partial, you take off and just end
Got it.
at the edge.
And then over on this other side,
the same thing. I do all my whole ones first and then go around the edge and
Okay.
finish them up. Then when you've done everything horizontally, you're going to turn it a quarter turn, and you're going to take off and land. Take off and land. Take off and butt into the edge.
This
Take
is so
off
soothing.
and land. Take off and land. Take off and land. Your turn.
Okay. So just up here,
Mm-hmm.
take off. Oops, it's not drying. Take off and see how wiggly my
Oh,
hand
here's a
is?
little
It's
tip.
because
When you're
I'm-
not using your pen, you should probably
Put the cap on.
because they're so fine that they do dry out, and then you just have a little trouble
Okay.
with your takeoff.
Oh, and I did. Okay,
Mhm.
so we're gonna
Yeah.
take off and land. All right. Well, that's easy.
Very nice.
Oh, that was a little humpy one there.
It's part of the imperfection, and it's just
And now
fine.
I turn it,
Quarter turn,
and the same thing,
take off and land. Take off above.
and land
Mm-hmm.
underneath. Well, how easy is that? I can do this.
Yes, you can.
Oh, that didn't go down there, but it's okay.
But you're aware of your landings, and that's important.
Yeah. So that's out. Take off and land.
Mhm.
Little there, and then I see I've got one here to do.
Mhm. That's why I do them at the end, because you can see. So you'll want
To finish
you'll
this one
want
down.
and there and
Mhm.
there and there.
And
too.
that'll go up,
Mhm.
up.
Mhm. One more right here.
That's
One
right.
more right here.
There. And then finish this the same way up. Oh my goodness. Oh, that's take off. Maybe, no, I think we're done.
You're done. Okay, so the ride home.
Oh, the ride home. The ride home. We'll let the camera see the ride home. That's so easy.
Okay, there's one more really important
Oh.
step.
Okay.
Smudger pencil. This looks very, very good if it's shaded. And to shade this, you've created little boxes.
Okay.
So to shade this, you're going to shade one side of the box and the top. And always
Okay.
shade the same side and the top. The same side and the top. I'll just do a few of them.
Okay. And then you're going to smudge that to just, oh wow. That's,
And you can see my pencil lines right now. But when I use my smudger, you cannot see pencil lines.
okay, just smooth that in there.
Just turns into gray shading.
Dimensional. The magic ride home. Okay, let's turn it to the camera. The magic ride home. Oh boy, that really gives it dimension. It's like the peeled. Oh, okay, I can do this one. And you know, I've been looking at this quilt, and I can do every one of these because I've done this in quilting. It's just a matter of drawing it on fabric. So I have a quilt in my lap that's been getting me kind of warm. And so I want to open this up and see what you have done, and let's talk about it. Let's move our supplies away here, because our viewers have been able to see every one of these and see the fun designs that you have created. Then you gave me a website to go to that the lady, the Zentangle, Linda is her name as well.
She is not actually the founder of Zentangle.
Okay.
She is someone who has taken it upon herself to gather all the Zentangle designs from all the artists out there and put them in one place so that you can easily go to the website and look at patterns. There are hundreds of them.
Okay.
And that is www.tanglepatterns.com.
So lots of inspiration.
So it's really, if you're a little stuck, what do I want to do? Just go to the website. You'll instantly have some ideas, and that will allow you to take off and do your own. Because a lot of the designs I've used in these quilts and in these are my own. They're just, I've been inspired by something they did, but I didn't actually copy them.
Okay. And then there are Zentangle books that you can buy.
Oh, there are.
But
Hundreds of them.
let's look at this quilt. Pull this out here, and this is another one that I want to know how to do. And this one is just your lines, and then you drew, which you could even quilt that.
I could, probably.
You could have quilted that, but this is really fun. And I know that Linda has actually digitized this in her Art and Stitch program, and it's now a quilting design, which is really fun. So free motion, fill it in.
Free motion and a lot of black ink.
Okay. Your feathers, that I would call it, but you call it pays. And then just swirls, and all these little black squares or triangles, that's just the ink.
Embellished with ink.
And this looks like a soccer ball, kind of. Yeah, that's what my boys would say. But you filled that in with ink by just creating a crosshatch and then filling it in. Clamshells, and then just making this fun design. Oh, I love that. That's, yes. And then, of course, this is the one I know how to do now. This is a fun one. How easy is that?
It's
so
very
it's
easy.
all thread except for the little dots.
Right.
And if you were doing this by hand, you could make a lot of French knots, or just take a pen and dot those.
Right.
And it's great.
Dots are always a good filler. If you, if something looks like it needs just a little something more, dots always work really well.
And this is fun. Okay, so everything you've got here is black and white. Is that all Zentangle does, is black and white, or can I make this? Can I add color, or
Absolutely, absolutely. There are a lot of books that show using color. Traditionally, Zentangle is done with black pen on white. But if you're good with color and like to use color, by all means, you'll see a lot of color out there too.
Oh, okay.
I just happen to really love black and white.
It's beautiful. It's just stunning. Very striking. Okay, so what I want to do now is I want to go to an actual quilting machine, and we have a Sweet 16 today, a sit-down machine, and I want to have you, all that you have learned and that you do, I want you to put that into a block, and let's actually watch her quilt. And so what design are you going to choose to put into that block?
Well, I guess I have to do your favorite.
I guess you do. I really like this too. It's like party streamers.
But that's so easy, you could do that.
Yes,
Simple,
but I think that would be a really good one.
This one's really fun because it's not continuous. So you have a little messy spot in here. And then when you go back and put the dots in, messy spot is gone.
Oh, okay, so that is the one we're going to do, absolutely.
I did want to point out that this quilt was done by, I did the piecing first,
Okay.
then put it on my machine and did the quilting.
And
then took it off the machine and did the inking.
Oh, okay. That's good to know, that process.
So what I did was create a coloring book for myself.
Do you always do it that way? Do you always quilt it and then color it?
No, I'm not consistent with the way I do that. But this one, this was actually the first piece I experimented with. So what I did with this was I created all these squares for myself with the backing already on them.
Okay.
And then I just stitched a seam, flipped it with the batting. So now I have my little sandwich prepared.
Okay.
Now I can ink on here and do my stitching. When this is finished, if I don't like it, I can throw it away. If I do like it, then I keep it and I put it together in a quilt using the quilt as you go method.
Okay, so buy a tape there that just puts them together, hides the seams. All right, so we're going now to the quilting machine, and are you going to use these fabrics? I really love this fabric.
Okay.
So I want to see what you're going to do.
Okay. I may as well draw here.
Okay.
And then move
And
over to the machine.
you are the only one drawing now, not me.
You don't want to draw?
I want to watch you.
So more materials here.
Okay, so you're not going to use the inks, the black?
Not until after I do the stitching.
Okay. Good process
So,
we're learning here.
Right. So these are some of the things I use to do the drawing on here. This is just a blue washable marker. If I'm going to, these are all blue washable markers. If I'm going to be quilting right away, and I know that I'm not going to set this aside and come back to it tomorrow, I use my purple air erasable.
Okay.
So I'll use the purple air erasable today.
Because we're going to do it right now.
And then this is a chalk pen that just comes with a variety of different colors that it wouldn't show up on there. On solid black, this would show up very well. But you can use any marking technique you want, or if you're really brave, just do it free motion.
All right. Come on. I'm excited for this now.
So just like the paper, I subdivide this.
Okay.
So I'm just going to make some S curves. Then I'll do another one that goes here. And that's all I really need for my areas. Now, very same thing. Make my dots.
Your dots. Okay.
So I'm going to make.
Just in that grid. Okay.
And these don't have to be
Filled in.
right, because these are just going to be my guides. So this can be done very quickly.
Okay. And then after you're finished with this, we're going to move to the quilting machine, and you're going to go to the next technique on quilting.
Okay.
Very good. All right.
One more step.
Oh, one
Sorry,
more step.
one more step. It's just nice to give yourself a guide. So I actually do this.
You do draw those all in. That's a good idea.
Some of them, so that I can relax and quilt and not have to worry about going in the wrong direction.
Because then you would have to unpick that. Pick that out, rip that out, whatever you want to call it.
Okay.
Okay, it's finished. Let's move to the machine.
All right.
All right, we're sitting here in front of the Sweet 16 ready to quilt designs that we have drawn previously. But I wanted, before you start quilting, I know you're ready, and I'm ready for you to do it. But as I was looking at this a little more closely and realizing that I've quilted this design and pebbles, feathers, but you filled it in now with some ink to kind of add some different looks to it. This matches your fabric, and so just straight lines using a ruler if you choose to, and then just fill it in with the ink. This is just squiggles and making kind of a fun squiggle look and filling the little dots in with ink. Of course, this is continuous curve quilting, like banana or not orange peel they call it. Straight lines, and we can't make a hand stitching look on our machine, so that's what the pen's all about. You take the pen and you make that hand stitching look.
That's right.
Okay, because I've been looking at this, analyzing how all this happens. And then your feathers again and shading them with some echoing, which our quilting machine can do. Again, we looked at this, just some curls, and added that extra little triangles into it. Feathers or leaves, straight, just curved S lines. Easy, easy, but it just complements it. And then back here, some people call this a bouncing banana type effect. Quilting, the one that I really like, and more of those straight lines. And then this is just a design that as you do that design, I noticed you went up, made a little loop, and went back. That's it. All continuous. Every bit of this can be continuous.
So one of the mottos of Zentangle is anything is possible, one stroke at a time. Anything is possible, one stitch at a time.
It is.
So when you break it down, you see how simple it is.
Yes, and this is the first chance I've really had to break it down as quilting. I've seen it's beautiful as an artwork, and so to place that on a wall or as a table runner type, placemats, whatever. Of course, placemats, you wouldn't want to wash it. But it's beautiful with the black and white fabrics.
And you just have to pay attention to the darker and lighter. So some areas are heavier, some areas are lighter, and you just want a pleasing combination of both.
And you've done a beautiful job with this.
Oh, thank you.
Love it. Okay, I'm ready to watch you, and we are ready to watch you quilt. So I'm going to go ahead. I've got the marker here. This is what we're going to be quilting.
So I'm going to be stitching this, but it works a little differently with thread. Now, before I do anything, I'm going to stitch my the lines between my boundaries because I'll be using those to travel.
Okay, so we've set up the machine, and I had the machine set up for about a 50 weight thread, and you said I want a heavier thread. So now we have a 30 weight thread, Superior Brights, and we're just ready to go now?
So I'm going to stitch the dividing line between these, the string that we talked about earlier. And I'm not going to be terribly concerned if I don't stay right on my line. It's just a guideline. It's air erasable. It's going to go away, so I won't see the comparison when I finish it. So I'll go ahead and stitch this into the center. And you want to use the things that will help you out, like in this case, I can stitch into my black fabric. It won't show. And I can stitch, I'm going
Right
to
to that
turn this.
point. Okay. And that's a nice thing on the sit down is you can turn this fabric.
Exactly.
You're using a small piece of fabric. You can turn it, orient it to any way you want.
But this technique is very friendly for any of the machines, to include using the Pro Stitcher.
So do you ever use rulers to get a good sharp curve, or do you just freehand?
I've used rulers to do the one design that you really liked that's on the other quilt.
Oh, okay. Yes, that little spiral type look, square spiral.
So here I can stitch right off the edge because this is going to be cut off. This is very generous. This is probably 10 or 11 inches.
Compared to...
And I'm going to cut it down to an 8-inch square. So...
And stitches per inch, it's the choice of what you want.
Exactly.
So you're controlling your stitches per
Exactly.
inch, doing about 8 to 10 stitches per inch.
Right.
Okay.
I'm not going to worry too much about it because that's the other thing where if I were just stitching the black on the white fabric, I would have to worry about every little stitch. But since I'm going to go in with my pen and do some embellishing, I can also do some repairs.
Okay.
So-
All right.
So if I have a little jiggle that I don't like, I can fix it with my pen.
Okay.
So now I'm going to stitch this in the same way that we drew it earlier. And the beauty of this is that it's going to be, because this is not continuous, and you'll see what I'm talking about when I get here, I'm going around the circle, but I can't keep going. I have to back up, if you can see that.
Okay.
So I'm backed up, and then I go around the next circle. And it gets, I'm just going to go right through the middle. See, it gets a little messy at that point. But I'm not too worried about it because I can go back
With the Sharpie.
with the Sharpie and fill that in.
And you would use the Sharpie, not the micron pen?
You could use either.
Okay. So a permanent marker, whether it be a Sharpie or any permanent marker, is what you're looking for.
Right. And I really like to stitch very, very slowly on the sweep because it's almost like hand stitching. I just go tick, 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 and I can watch my stitches. So now I'm going to use this string to travel to my next area that I'm going to quilt.
Okay.
And I can turn this, and away I go.
All right, so then you'll do the same thing. When you get to the side, you'll travel to another path. When you're finished with this, and if you didn't use the air erase marker and you used a wash away marker, when would you wash that away? Would you put it all together, quilt it, or would you wash it away before? And what would you use, just water? What's that process for you?
I would just take this block and dunk it.
Just in water?
Just in water. Then I can let it sit and block naturally and then put it together into my quilt as a quilt as you go.
Okay.
Now the one that I pieced, I actually sprayed that one to get the marks off
Just with water?
with water. And that worked just fine.
Okay.
I had to get it pretty wet, but it was fine because it
So
was...
you don't do any of the shading yet? Any of the
Right.
marking?
Right.
You get all of your pre-lines off?
Exactly.
Okay. Okay, so we're coming to the last little curve there, and that's it. We're finished right there.
Is it?
You just tie it off there, and
I will go all the way to this edge just
Okay.
to make it a little cleaner.
okay,
Then I can,
hide your tie off there.
then I can do a little back stitch and I'm done.
All right. Bringing up your bobbin thread, trim it off. Now, let's see. So I can see all of these lines that weren't exactly accurate are going to go away, and it's going to be beautiful. But you have one more thing to do. And you don't have to wash this because those are air erase.
Exactly.
All right, let's see the next step. The final step in this. Okay, we gotta,
Can you see all right?
okay.
So now I want to make my dots similar size. And remember, hefty dots.
Large enough to fill that
We
in.
want nice hefty dots. And it's covering any little irregularities I may have had while I'm stitching. Nice hefty dots.
Well, Linda, I know I feel a lot better about this. I am excited to try some things and make a little sampler and This wasn't that hard. This was not hard at all. But I was nervous. Seriously, I was really nervous thinking, I have to draw. But it's okay. That was such an easy one to quilt out.
It's the perfect thing for non-artists.
Well, Linda, thank you. Thank you so much for joining me today with this.
Thank you,
and
Vicki.
thank you for joining us. And I hope you try this Zentangle and make your own beautiful, beautiful artwork and quilts, because we can apply this to quilting. Thank you, and join us again.
Thank you for having me.